I'm Hunter. This is the Family Showdown!
Hello folks, I'm Hunter.
And I'm Rebecca.
And this is the Family Showdown. Today we're going to take a look at Artifacts, Inc.
Normally we play a game after we've looked at reviews online and then purchased it ourselves, but we had the opportunity to try it out first at West Texas Tabletop Con with none other than Z and Sam. Really fun experience, and got to play it 4-player right off the bat.
Artifacts, Inc. is kind of a light dice placement game, kind of lighter than Kingsburg and Alien Frontiers. You use your dice to acquire artifacts, and you send them to the museum and sell them for money. And let's take a closer look.
The object of Artifacts, Inc. is to collect reputation by buying asset cards, upgrading asset cards, diving for underwater cards, and obtaining the majority at the museums by selling artifacts, plus some endgame scoring that we shall explore later. So let's look at the areas of the board. Each player starts with 4 cards. There is the Adventurer card, tells you how many dice you'll roll. There is the Headquarters card. This one allows you to use the buy action. And then there are also 2 Expedition cards. These allow you to dig up different artifacts. Next we go to the Public cards. There is the Guide Work. This is where you get money. The Private Collectors is where you get artifacts outside of the museum. You can sell them there. Then we have the different museums. There's a different museum for each type of artifact. The next region of the board is the Asset cards. Here we use the buy action to obtain these cards and add them to our starting lineup. Notice that there are A, B, and C rows. Then there is the scoreboard and diving area. This is where we track our reputation and dive for underwater items. The last section is sections D and E. This is where you can obtain more dice to roll. Let's look at the gameplay now.
The gameplay for Artifacts, Inc. is fairly straightforward. You simply roll the number of dice equal to the number of dice showing in your play area. Each player starts with 3 at the beginning of the game. These represent adventurers, so I would roll 3 dice, and then I would use these dice to go to various spots on the board. I can go to my play area, and there's some places over here in the rest of the board that you can go as well. The first spot in my play area I can go is the Headquarters, which allows me to buy and upgrade cards. I would simply put a die equal to 2 or higher on this spot to be able to buy or upgrade a card. You know that by the number at the bottom, and if it has a plus next to it, it means that number or higher. Some of them do not have a plus next to them, like this one just has a 1 without a plus. You have to put exactly that number to use that spot. So if I wanted to buy or upgrade a card, I would simply put a die here, 2 or higher, and that allows me to buy a card in this area or these over here. The amount you pay to buy a card is in the top right corner of the card. For example, this one needs 3 money, this one needs 1 money, this one's a money and a scroll. 1 money and a scroll to buy. The amount that costs to upgrade cards in your play area is the same as it was to originally buy it. You would pay $2, for example, to upgrade this card, and you would do that by flipping it over. When you purchase a new card, like for example, if I paid $1 to buy this truck, I'd have to put it in my play area. I can either put it to the left or the right of my first row, or I could start a second row at the bottom, and you're only allowed to have 2 rows. And the reason this is important is because some of the cards that you score at the end of the game give bonuses for how they're oriented to other cards. So that's how the buy works. The next spot you can go to in your play area is to dig up artifacts. So this one you get skulls and this one you get scrolls. And what you would do is you would place a die here. So for example, a 3 or higher I put on that spot right there, and that would give me 1 skull, and I'd represent this by putting a cube on my card. Same over here with the scrolls. I would put a die 4 or higher, and I could get a scroll, and again I would put a cube on that card to represent 1 scroll. The next thing you can do is sell your artifacts in the museum. So for example, if I accumulated 3 skulls, I could go to the museum with the skull and put a 2 or higher here and sell those skulls. So for example, if I want to sell all 3, I would take that and put a cube on the 3 spot, showing that I sold 3 skulls, and I would get $1 per skull sold in this museum. The other museums actually give a bonus for selling artifacts. The scroll one would give a bonus of 1, the rune one would give a bonus of 2, and the gem would give a bonus of 3. And by that I mean, if I sold 3 scrolls in the Scrolls Museum, I'd get the normal 3, but also get a bonus of 1, so that'd be a total of 4 for that sale. So that's the museums. If you don't want to sell in a museum, you can go to the private collector and just sell your artifacts outright. You get $1 per artifact, and you get an additional $1 for every type of artifact beyond the first that you sold there. And by that I mean if you place a die here and you sold 2 skulls and 2 scrolls, you get 4 for those, and then you would get an additional 1 because you have 2 types of artifacts. If you sold 3 types of artifacts, you get an additional $2. And if you somehow sold all 4 types of artifacts, you would get an additional $3. Another place you can go with your dice is you can simply put a die here, 1 or higher, any die, and you would get a $1 for doing that. That's kind of a last resort. I don't have anywhere to go. I'll go there and get $1. Another thing you can do on your turn is you can go diving for artifacts. To do this, you simply put dice totaling the number on the top card of the deck or higher, and then you would take that card and put it in your play area. Each one of these give you 1 reputation point, and also you can potentially get 0 cards that add bonuses for the number of artifacts you have of each type. So for pottery or the sunken city, or there's also the balloons that you can get as well. So that's basically what you can do with your dice. Once you do all that, you go until someone has accumulated 20 or more reputation points. As soon as someone passes that 20, you finish up everyone's turn. You know who the first player is by this card. You make sure everyone has equal turns. You get your in-game bonuses for the 0 cards, and then you also get bonuses for having the majority in each one of the museums. The bonus you get is at the top right. So if you have the most cubes in the Skull Museum, you would get the bonus of the top right. You add those as well. You total up the points, and whoever has the highest points wins.
Alright, so that's the rules of the game. Now we're going to do a quick run through a turn just to show you how quickly the turns go.
So I'm the first player, so I'll go first. I'll roll dice equal to the number of symbols in my play area, which is 3. So I'll take 3 dice and roll them. And I rolled horribly. 2, a 2, and a 1. Don't know what I'm going to be doing with that. But I guess I'll start by doing a buy, since I can at least do that. I'll put a 2 here in the buy area. And I want to upgrade my adventurers so I'll have more dice for a future turn, because if I roll like that, I need more dice. So I'm going to pay 2 money to the bank to upgrade this card, so I'll flip it over, and as you can see, I'm going to get 4 dice on my next turn, and also I get 1 reputation point for upgrading that card. Thank you. For my other 2, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I'll go here because I need a 1 exactly to get a skull, so I'll place that there, and I put a token to represent that I have 1 skull, and then I have a 2 left. What am I going to do with the 2?
You could dive.
I could dive, or I guess I could go here and sell that skull in the museum, or I can get a money. I think I'm going to dive, so I'll go ahead and place my 2 over here and take the top card of the dive deck and place it in my play area, and also get a reputation point for that one as well. So that's my turn. So I reset the board, give the dice to the second player, and,
Not too bad,
and see how she does. Maybe she'll roll higher.
No whammies, no whammies. Aha!
That is ridiculous.
Alright, so I think, since you're already starting diving, I want to try to start cornering this museum here with a J, whatever that is,
Runes,
artifact, yeah. And so what I need to do then is I first need to purchase a scroll. I guess I'll use this, because I have to have at least 4 or higher. So I'll put my piece there. And now I'm going to go buy that. So I put my dice there. And then this card requires a scroll and 3 money, so I'm now broke. But I did get this, so now that when I roll next time, I can put a 5 or higher here, and I get these, and I can sell them for higher prices. So, oh hey look, I have a dice left. I think I'm going to do just that. Ta-da! And hopefully I'm off to a good start. Plus, this is also 1 reputation, so I get to put my piece on the board and replenish this. And that's the turn.
That's one turn. That's how quick and easy one turn of the game is. We continue doing this until one of us makes it around to 20, and we score up the game, and
That's it?
that's the whole game. As you can see, Artifact Inc. is a pretty light game, a great introduction to dice placement, lighter weight than I would say Kingsburg and Alien Frontiers, a very easy game to teach, fairly quick game to play, really enjoyable. One thing that we didn't mention in the playthrough is this is set up for 2 players. To play 3 or 4 players, you just simply flip over the museum cards, and there's more places for people to make sales. That's the only variant there is for 2 players. 3 and 4 play exactly the same.
And that's one thing that I actually like about this game is that the play is basically the same for 2 through 4 players, and it's easy that way. You don't have to remember a bunch of extra rules or variants. And the other thing I like about it is there are so many different ways to win. The paths to victory are many and varied. You can go through and do a lot of bonuses through the museum domination, because there's quite a few points you get at the end for that. Plus the diving can really stack up. If you get some of these cards over here have diving bonuses that help you add up to the higher and higher numbers, so that you can get these, and there's a lot of bonuses for artifacts, plus the reputation scores just from obtaining the card itself. So that multiplies quickly.
And there's a lot of little hidden strategies, like going for the number of dice. You can really rack up a ton of dice to roll, but by doing that, you're wasting time not doing the diving and purchasing cards. So you have to kind of judge, how many dice do I want to get? Is 4 enough? Is 5 enough? Do I want to stay with 3? I probably wouldn't do that, but you can jump right in and start buying things. So there's a lot of strategy, a lot of things to do. Really light, fun game. I actually prefer it 2-player because it's really quick. It's boom, boom, boom. You saw how quickly that one turn was for us. It's really fast. But even 3 and 4 players are really quick. It goes around the table really fast.
It's really fun with no matter how many players you have. The only difference for me felt like you could get blocked out a lot more easily playing with 4 players. So your strategy may have to change a little bit because you can't do what you want to do. The options seem much more available to you as a 2-player.
Right.
So, and then for our warp factor scale, what would you give this?
Warp factor. I'd give this one a warp factor 9.
I would too. I think it's unanimous. Warp factor 9 for this one. It's a great game. Artifacts Inc. Give it a try.